title. Despite point leader Mark Kinser's season-long domination, he only holds a 27-point lead, chasing his third series championship. Danny the Dude Lasoski is searching for his first overall title. And now with 15 nights of racing remaining this season, the question remains, who will be king, Lasoski or Kinser? The race continues today. We are in Greenwood, Nebraska, 20 miles from the University of Nebraska. Thursday night, the Cornhuskers took care of business, and now as America gets set to take care of business, and with patriotism coursing through everybody's veins, the Pennzoil World of Outlaws have come to town to aid in the healing of America. Tonight, the Great Plains Shootout from Nebraska Raceway Park, coming your way on TNN Sports. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Nebraska. I'm Eli Gold. Glad you're able to join us tonight. Let me throw some numbers at you. This is the closest point battle in the history of the Pennzoil World of Outlaws. We have seen 16 different race winners already this year. That is a series record. We've had 15 different changes for the point leadership among 4 drivers. It's all virtually unheard of. Take a look at the points and see for yourself. Only 27 markers separating Mark Kinser and Danny Lasoski. Lasoski had been the point leader until the second race at Eldora, the spring event, actually, kind of like last year where he lost the point lead during the spring race at Eldora. Now the battle is ongoing, and again, only 27 points between the two. Hall of Famer Brad Doty is alongside. Who do the odds favor in a situation like this? Because a couple of bad races either way, and the whole picture changes. Who do you like?
Well, I'll tell you, this is by far the most competitive season, but Danny Lasoski and crew chief Jimmy Carr, they've been fast, they've been consistent all year, but the odds have to be in favor of Mark and Carl. Mark, a 2-time champion as a driver in 96 and 99. Of course, his father, crew chief Carl Kinser, a 17-time champion as a car owner. They're fast, consistent, they win a lot of races, but more importantly, they know how to win championships.
But folks, remember, normally 150 points already in front of somebody at this stage of the year. Now it's only 27 points. Of course, our schedule has been shortened by 1 week. No racing last week at Texas because of the tragedies, and Lisa Chilenza has spent the day down in the pits talking to the drivers who reflected on that tragedy.
Thanks, Eli. Well, every American has been affected by the recent terrorist attacks in New York City and in Washington, D.C. And the World of Outlaws is no different. You mentioned earlier that the Texas Showdown was canceled, making this the first weekend of racing in 2 weeks. And that's a long time off considering their grueling schedule. But it's given the drivers the opportunity to reflect on the tragic events of September 11th.
It's been really hard on me, and I was glad to see him cancel the races last weekend. I don't think anybody would have been in the right state of mind.
I guess, you know, everybody always says, well, you have to go on, but it's kind of difficult too sometimes.
It's nice to be back at the racetrack, but our thoughts and prayers are still with the people in New York and Washington.
Well, I think it's something that'll get your mind off it. I think everybody's kind of been glued to the TV sets and watching what's going on.
You forget about it for a little bit, but as soon as you're done racing, it's still there.
What has happened, nobody needs to forget.
It's just hard for everybody to concentrate on what they're supposed to concentrate.
Yeah, it's hit home pretty close. We still got to carry on, and I think that, you know, I think that's kind of what terrorism's about, is taking everything away from you, and it's nice to get back and be able to do something that you love.
While they all express a desire to return to normalcy, it's apparent that the drivers and their crews are preoccupied, and that lack of concentration could affect their performance tonight. Eli?
Okay, Lisa, thank you very much. And Brad, you better concentrate, because you, as well as anybody knows, this is very serious business when you're in a race car.
Well, it really is, and they're preoccupied. We're all preoccupied, but these guys are professionals, Eli. When they climb in that race car, they're going to focus at the task at hand.
And the task at hand is getting to the A main here in the Great Plains Shootout. If you don't know what the format looks like, take a look and see what's in store for you. The only way to win the Great Plains Shootout here at Nebraska Raceway Park is to win the A main. 47 drivers have come here this evening in search of that goal, and here's how the drivers get to the A. After qualifying, all of the cars are divided into 4 different heats. The top 5 finishers in those heats automatically transfer into the A main. The winners of those heats, combined with other top qualifiers, will move into the Channellock Dash. The front 5 rows of the A-Main feature are determined by the Dash's finishing order. All of the other competitors are placed into feature races based on qualifying order, with a chance to finish well and transfer into the 24-car field for the A-Main. There's the man who really tore things up here a night ago, Mark Kinser. He has lowered Greenwood's track record 4 times in 6 seasons. And if he's anywhere near the way he ran here last night, Brad, the rest of the guys might just think about heading home now.
Oh, he checked out. I mean, it was so dominant last night. He just drove away from him.
Why don't we take a look at the starting grid, the first of the O'Reilly Auto Parts heats for you here at what they used to call the I-80 Speedway. This is now Nebraska Raceway Park. Good field of cars. You see where your favorites are lining up here in the first of our 4 O'Reilly Auto Parts heats. The track has been in superb condition. And right off the start, problems middle of the field as the green flies for a moment. And there you see problems with Don Trout as he brings out the caution on the get-go. So right off the start, Don Trout Jr. from just up the road a piece in Lincoln, Nebraska, one of the favorites in these parts, with problems coming to the green.
Well, they backed up on the start. Looked like Hillenberg stuttered a little bit there, or something happened, and it stacked him up behind him.
Let's see if we can take a look. Look again for that yellow number 1 there. Chesson's in front of him. Oh, he clips the back of Chesson's automobile.
Yep. Again, Andy Hillenberg in the black car there. Right here, the leader, or the pole sitter, just didn't take off.
Bad luck continuing for Don Trout here at Nebraska Raceway Park.
And there you see everybody just kind of checking up, some doing it slower than the others as they pull away. You see Hillenberg there pulling away after PJ Chesson ran up on him. So that's the bad, one of the things about this sport in general. You could be minding your own business, and sometimes the $150 part that breaks and puts you out. Well, here the guys check up in front of you and you've got nowhere to go.
Yeah, I mean, these cars, you know, they're pretty tough before you get to banging around too much on these things, and you can knock a wheel off. But you see Trout there, they're pulling him backwards, they're unloading the fuel out of the engine, and he looks like he should be able to refire.
We are in Greenwood, Nebraska. This is a great racing area, just about, what, 11 or 12 miles from Eagle Speedway, where TNN visited earlier this season.
Yep, just down the road, and again, big sprint car country up here in the Midwest.
As we mentioned, this track opened as the I-80 Speedway back in May of 1994, and the World of Outlaws came here a year later. And then the schedule was expanded to a second race in September for the Outlaws back in 1997. And TNN's been coming here since 1998. But Mark Kinser, taking a look at the numbers that Kevin Eckert put together for us from Flat Out Magazine, he was quick to point out that Mark Kinser has won better than 1/3 of the races here. And it's when a guy gets dialed into the racetrack, it's tough to beat him.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, Eli. Some drivers just feel so comfortable at a racetrack, it doesn't matter whose car they're in or what they're doing. They just go there with a confidence that's just tough to beat.
Well, let's see if we can get by the restart right here, or the actual initial start, if you will.
As you can see, Trout had to go to the rear. Anytime you get a push truck after on the racetrack, you got to go to the tail.
Green flag, and we're underway here in Nebraska Raceway Park.
We saw Mark Kinser get loose. That's Dale Blaney in the 10 car. The run down the back straightaway.
That's Blake Feast in the number 1 there, that white and red entry. Andy Hillenberg having pulled away from the start. He has the comfortable lead as we watch this battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Remember, only the top 5 will advance out of this heat into the big race, the A-Main feature, coming up later tonight.
And Blake Feast in the 1 car there. You know, just a young guy, not a lot of experience, especially with the World of Outlaws. He's just trying to make the main event.
There you see Hillenberg, whose 2nd place here last night matched his best career finish at this racetrack in Greenwood, Nebraska. As we go back now to that 5th place, there's Feast going by. Remember, he won at Knoxville in his 2nd start for the injured Raymond Hensley. And then you've got Blaney and Johnson right in behind.
Hillenberg found out this week, or recently, that he's losing Luxair as a sponsorship after this season, so he's desperately looking for something for next year.
Keep running like this, though, and obviously he'll attract some attention.
Andy likes the big old racetracks. He's really good. He's got that race car Diesel, his mechanic, they really work. They've been together a long time, and they do like the big tracks.
He's 2.3 seconds up with just another lap to go before the checker. There you see 5th place. That's Blaney. So Hillenberg, Chesson, Mark Kinser, Feese, and Blaney right now are in the top 5 spots. Jason Johnson running behind him is the man out of the transfer as the white flag is in the air. And here comes Andy Hillenberg. He will wrap up O'Reilly heat number 1. P.J. Chesson will come across 2nd. There's Kinser. Mark comes home in 3rd. Then Blake Feese in 4th. And Dale Blaney coming home in the 5th spot. So those 5 will advance. And of course the race winner, the heat winner, will advance onto the Channellock Dash, which you'll be seeing later in our coverage from here at Nebraska Raceway Park. 4/10 of a mile, banked oval here in Greenwood, Nebraska, as you take a look at the official finishing order among the top 5.
Finishing 6th, car number 41, Jason Johnson, the 7th spot for the 7S of Jason Sides. Derek Beckman.
So there you see Hillenberg with a fine run, but again, Mark Kinser in 3rd. Still a solid enough performance in light of what he did here a night ago.
Oh yeah, the racetrack's quite a bit different than last night, and all they want to do is run the top 5 of this heat race and get locked into the main event. Not try anything crazy, not crash the race car. I mean, it goes back to at the opening of the show, that being consistent, and they know how to be consistent.
What a season already. If you're not familiar, Mark claimed his first Gold Cup championship a week or so ago in Chico, California. He was telling us today he's been going to Chico for 17 years, something I know you knew and I wasn't familiar with. He'd been going there for 17 years, had never won the Gold Cup championship until a couple of weekends, 3 weekends back.
Well, Chico's a little bull ring and just a little, I mean, they get your elbows up, do wheelies and bicycle and things, and I'd say Carl's race cars, well, even Mark when he was on his own, but they tend to go better on these high-speed, faster racetracks, and they've always struggled a little bit in California.
So there you see Mark Kinser. He and Danny Lasoski trading the series point lead. Just those two alone 11 times since March. And as we mentioned at the very outset of our telecast, the overall numbers, 15 changes atop the points this year already among 4 drivers. That's unheard of in Pennzoil World of Outlaw competition. Of course, joining us on the telecasts this evening, as per usual, couple of guys in pit road. Bobby Gerald is one. The other is that man, Dave Argabright, the associate editor of Open Wheel magazine. David?
Well, we got to let him get that big melon off of his head. Mark Kinser, but the time feature rolled around last night. You were dominant. Can you get there again tonight?
Oh, I think so. You know, everybody's working on the Mopar car right now. They're in the heat race. I didn't get a very good start, kind of a driver error, so we just kind of picked our way up to 3rd. The feature time comes around, we'll get this Mopar car dialed in, let me tell you.
Well, it was awfully dominant last night. You know, guys, we talked a lot about the point championship, and as we go down this stretch run, one of the factors that favors this Mark Kinser team and the Team Mopar is that they're going to a lot of tracks where they historically run very well, and they've done a little bit of work recently with the Mopar engine and the compression heads, and they feel like they've really got it dialed in. But the difference, I think, is going to be experience. Mark has won this thing twice as a driver. Carl 17 times as a car owner. It's so close, too close to call right now, and it's going to come down to consistency, and usually the team that's more experienced will be more consistent. Eli?
Thank you, David. You're right, going to Pennsylvania where they run well, going to the dirt track at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. The numbers, if nothing else from that standpoint, do favor the Kinsers. Heat number 2 when TNN Sports returns. Coverage of the Pennzoil World of Outlaws. Great Plains Shootout is being brought to you by Mopar. Parts for Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, and Jeep vehicles from the dealerships that sell and install them. And by Luxair, setting the performance standard in heating and air conditioning. It is a jam-packed house here at the Great Plains Shootout, Greenwood, Nebraska. And the crowd, of course, includes our own Lisa Chalenza with a look at the dude. Lisa?
Well, Eli, Danny Lasoski is having the best season of his career. He won the Knoxville Nationals and is in hot pursuit of the overall title. And as part of a new team with owner Tony Stewart and crew chief Jimmy Carr, the dude is re-energized.
It's been a fun year, and starting with a new team with J.D. Byrider, Ham America, Tony Stewart. We're just tickled we'd be here right now and give her 110% for the rest of the races and hope we're on top in November.
According to Danny, there are no real secrets to doing well. It's all pretty basic, common sense stuff that's the result of good planning.
You put together a good team over the winter and try to do your job through the summer, and you're in a chase for a championship.
The chase is on, and it's by no means over. As Danny and his crew continue to excel, it would be very satisfying if this first-year team could take it all.
It'd just be an astronomical feat that our whole team put together. It's such a good effort, our first-year team. And we're just excited about running the rest of the races and let the best team win.
The best team is yet to be decided, but you can be sure that Danny's team will not let up. And despite the dude playing close to his vest with his remarks, you two get the idea that he wants that title badly. Back to you, Eli.
All right, Lisa, thank you. There's the dude who won the first 2 sprint races ever here in Greenwood, Nebraska, back in 1994, and he's done pretty well since then, as well we know. Brad, let's check out the starting lineup now for the second of the O'Reilly Auto Parts heats. It does include that man, Danny Lasoski.
Look how upright he sits in that race car, Eli.
There you see who's in this. Not Darren Pittman. You see, Darren was to have started inside of row number 3. The rear end just broke on his machine, so Darren is not going to be taking the green in that blue number 3. Jeff Matrician is here. Bob Bennett going shotgun in the red 3B. As we get set to go green, field forming up. So far, it seems to be a good raceable racetrack. We've seen even some of the local divisions. They've got some of their own stock cars that run on dirt here. Ran earlier in the evening, and they too had a solid track with which to work.
The racetrack is in excellent shape. It's not very... Oh, we got them tangled up again.
Same thing we saw on the first of the O'Reilly heats. And this one goes nowhere. Brad Furr right there in the middle of things.
See the tires off there. Definitely gonna have to change that. They had to go to the tail anyway. If they can fix that tire, if there's no other damage to the front axle, they can change that and get back out.
We'll see what Dennis Moore had happened to him too. He was at the other car there. Watch Moore in the 71. Brad Furr's in. Oh, see, Furr runs up and goes over top of the 20 of Jason Myers, and that left nowhere for Dennis Moore to go. Watch the inside of row 2, right there.
Yeah, it looks like Brad Furr just took off and run up over Myers. Myers did hesitate there a little bit, but not real. Let's see.
Yeah, look, well, maybe something broke or it just didn't go. It just didn't launch.
Yeah, Myers didn't really keep up with Donnie Schatz on the outside there real well.
Jason Myers there, the number 20, driving for Craig Cormack's team, of course. That's the team that took a 2000 preliminary win here at Greenwood with Johnny Herrera behind the wheel. Welcome back. The Great Plains Shootout haltingly getting underway here at Nebraska Raceway Park. Kind of a start and a stop kind of situation there, Bobby. And you see Brad Furr's bunch busily at work beside you.
Yeah, they are. Brad Furr getting involved in the contact there. And as we'll take a look at Brad Furr's car, they said they did a little bit of damage to the header. Also had a right front tire that they had to change. The damage to the header is on the opposite side of the race car. So they have just changed the tire, going to work on that header over there. You're looking at Rod Museling, and on the other side there's a crew chief on the car, Mike Harper, who is hard at work, also getting a hand here from the Beef Packers. But Brad Furr hopefully will be able to get back out into the action. Furr, of course, one of 3 drivers that's fighting hard for the World of Outlaws Rookie of the Year title this year, along with Jeff Shepard and Jason Myers. Shepard right now has a leg up. Quick side note here, Eli. Brad Furr's father, Randy Furr, is the CEO of the Sanmina Corporation. He was scheduled to be at the World Trade Center. He had a choice, either September 4th or September 11th. He went a week early on the 4th.
And that is something that he will certainly be thanking his lucky stars for forever. And then, exactly what are they doing there, Brad? We saw them looking at the exhaust and all. What are they doing there?
Well, this thing is red hot. I mean, this thing is red. Look how dedicated these crews are. This thing is red hot, and they smashed it shut. The engine can't run. It chokes off the exhaust. So they pulled it off. I thought they were going to try to push off without even a header on there. And it looks like now they've elected to try to get it on. I don't know if they're going to make it back out or not.
They need to get a contingency sponsorship from a glove company.
Well, most of them do, but I don't think they've even taken time to put the glove on. But you can see it right there. smashed shut, that the engine wouldn't run like that.
Is there a reason why we're seeing these cars not launch on the starts tonight?
These fuel injection race cars are really funny. They have to get them fueled just right. Sammy Swindell's one guy that really works hard on getting his engine to take off on a restart. If they stutter and stumble, this is what happens. The guy behind you takes off and runs over you.
This time, everybody up to full song as we are underway here in the O'Reilly Auto Parts second heat of the evening.
I mean, every night they have to refuel. Oh, we got to restart.
Yep, they're going to bring that one back.
Oh, it looks like Brad Furr might be able to get back out and rejoin the field here.
He is being pushed off in the pit lane. There you see the San Mina entry, and he'll be coming back around.
But they have to back to this thing with the fuel, Eli. They have to refuel these things every night, and sometimes during the night a couple times they change the jetting on these fuel-injected cars, and it's a guessing game, man. If somebody guesses wrong, sometimes they just don't take off very well.
With hot laps earlier, then the local division ran here, something we didn't cover on TNN this evening. Plus, you've got the air with some humidity. I mean, do you start dealing with a vapor lock situation, or is it a different science than that?
It's more of like Rich or Lean, and basically when you get in your car in the morning and it's cold, it starts and stutters, you stop light, you take off, and it wants to stumble. That's what these things do.
Jason Myers keeping Donnie Schatz behind him. Here comes the dude Lasoski in that white number 20 JD Byrider entry. He'll slide for second and may lose it right back to Donnie Schatz. And now may take it right back going into turn one. Good battle here. And here comes Schatz one more time.
God, Danny's able to hold him off that time. Well, unless Donnie moves right up and takes it away from him, yes.
And another slide job, and the dude comes right back.
This is good dirt racing here. These guys slip sliding. Oh, boy, that was... Donnie knew better than to go up there.
So Myers the leader. Lasoski settles in second. Schatz is third.
Look how far Danny pulled ahead of Schatz. When Schatz had to breathe the throttle there a little bit and slide up and wait on that cushion, you could see how much Lasoski was able to drive away from him.
Travis Whitney there in that red number 9, and here comes Sammy Swindell in the Channellock number 1. Same slide battles going on for 4th and 5th, the final transfer spot.
It's a long way from the top, or from the bottom, clear up to the top. And you drag a lot of speed off going up there, but these cars are so fast right now that they can't stick on the bottom very well.
Travis Whitney in that red machine, if you're not familiar, he's been a Wisconsin IRA winner at both Superior and Dodge County the past 2 weeks. So he's been hot. As you see the relationship from first place back to that man, second spot. It is already 2.4 seconds from first back to second, then Schatz running in third.
Jason Myers there, another one of our young guys on the tour, and you know, Donnie Schatz is another one that's only 24 years old, because a lot of us, and myself included, forget how young he really is.
He's just been around forever.
Yeah, he's just been out here for a long time.
Myers, a Kevin Gobrecht Rookie of the Year candidate.
When he jumped way up over the cushion there, was able to keep it out of the wall and take the win.
So the checker's going to Jason Myers, with Lasoski, Schatz, Swindell, and Whitney rounding out the top 5. First man out of the transfer, Jeff Matrician. He comes home in the 6th spot. So Jason Myers, who has been a runner-up this year at I-55 in late March, and then at the Oklahoma State Fairgrounds in Oklahoma City. He's been dialing it in here down the stretch of the season, and right now finds himself atop the leaderboard after the second of our heats. Heat number 3 when TNN comes back to Nebraska. The cars for third heat of the evening. We are with you from the Nebraska Raceway Park, the former I-80 Speedway in Greenwood, Nebraska. Eli Gold, Brad Doty, the guys in the pits, Dave Argabright and Bobby Gerald. This second heat wrapping up moments ago. And we've got 2 dudes down there. One's a driving dude, one's a talking dude.
That's right. And it's a good thing it's that way, because you wouldn't want to be anywhere near behind the wheel. Here's a dude that was having a little fun out there putting some slide jobs with Donnie Schatz.
I'll tell you what, I can't believe how nice this racetrack is. Last night was perfect, and tonight you can run all over this thing, top and bottom, and we just got a good race car and hope we can advance here in the A.
Danny Lasoski looking good in the 20. You thinking points?
Not at all. I mean, we just come out here and give 110% every night, and all the guys at JD Byrider, Ham America, You know, these guys are giving 110%, and I want all America to know that everybody on this team is sure praying for all these families that had this accident that happened. And I tell you what, it's a bad deal, and our thoughts and prayers go to those families.
Well said. And so there it is, guys. Even though that there is a terrific points battle going on right now with Danny Lasoski and Mark Kinser, Danny's still thinking about what's going on in New York City. But of course, the show does go on, and we are talking about points right now. And so who's going to win the deal? Well, you heard Dave Argabright just a moment ago saying that maybe the advantage goes to Mark Kinser. Right now, I'd say it's kind of a toss-up. If you look at the upcoming racetracks, Lasoski may have a little advantage at Devil's Bowl Speedway, whereas Mark Kinser has an advantage at Talladega, where he won earlier this year. Las Vegas and Charlotte, they're both very fast. So the trip through Pennsylvania coming up, where it's very tough to qualify, I think is going to be a real key in determining who is the ultimate champion this year. Right now, though, Mark does have a big leg up on him. Dave Argabright?
Well, Bobby, we're with Jason Myers, the winner of that heat race. Jason, your team struggled on the California swing in recent weeks. What have you done to turn that around?
Well, this Eagle Raceway car was running real good out there, and we just had a lot of bad luck, so we're just hoping we used all that up. We haven't done a whole lot, and Brodix, Westmar, Maxim, everyone's been behind us 100%, and it's been working real good, so hopefully we just used up all that bad luck out there.
Now, you're in the running for the Kevin Gobrecht Rookie of the Year award. What would it mean to you, your first year with the Outlaws here, to win that?
That would be about the best thing we could accomplish this year, and that's still what we're shooting for. We're not really sure who's in the hunt for that. I know Brad and I got a close race going, and no one's really sure if Shepard's a rookie or not, so hopefully he's not, and we'll have a good race through the rest of the year here with Brad, and you know, the best team will prevail, hopefully.
Good attitude. Eli?
Thank you, Dave. And of course, the name Kevin Gobrecht, so very, very special to this racetrack, because a couple of years ago, that was where right here where he lost his life. So this is really a very, very special evening to speak of Kevin Gobrecht and the Rookie of the Year award.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We talked about the opener show. That's another thing on these guys' minds every time they come back to this racetrack, and they just have to focus and block that out.
Folks, as you see right there on the screen, if you're web savvy and you're a World of Outlaw fan, you might want to be sure to log on to the sprintcarnet.com. Those are the fellows who travel the country along with the Pennzoil World of Outlaws, and this year will be covering 80 nights of racing for you. I want to check it out live on the net, sprintcarnet.com. Easy to log on and be part of the action. Let's check out the starting grid, heat number 3, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. There you see who's who, and a pretty good field here in this heat. Again, only the top 5 advance to the feature, the A-main.
Yeah, this is a pretty tough heat race right here, as all of them are, but this one is seems a little tougher. Cars, really good cars all the way through. See Shane Stewart there, 8 or 9 wins with Gum Out. The Gum Out series this year. Didn't even have a ride at the beginning of the year. Eli was crewing on Andy Hillenberg's car, and just what a dream season for him.
By the way, Jeff Shepard is a rookie this year, to clarify any question that Jason Myers had there a bit ago. Let's see if everybody launches here. Yep, they all come up to full speed, and the green is in the air. Saldana takes the high side to hold off challengers early in the number 83. McMahon in that blue U2.
Saldana, our leader last night, had a good run, come from mid-pack up to second. Really good, strong second, and the engine just died on him in the corners down in 1 and 2, and he lost 4 or 5 spots in the last few laps. Man, as a driver, that's frustrating.
And, of course, especially for him, too, because he's not visited Victory Lane since leaving Florida back, what, in February now.
Yeah, it's been a long season. When you go that long without winning a race. That's Joey there. Joey's wife, Shannon. She watches every move he makes on the racetrack. I mean, she doesn't let him out of her sights, I'll tell you that.
1.2 seconds, that's the spread you see right there. Back to Herrera running in second, Delansky third, then McMahon and Smith. Those are the top 5. The 8H, that's the black and orange machine.
Stewart, who we talked about, all those wins. There's the surprise. Stevie Smith started on the front row, and worried about maybe losing a possible transfer spot here.
And he swept the races here when this tour came to town back in 1998. It was May of 98, and Stevie swept all the races. This is going to be a good battle. Again, we were talking moments ago about the 8H there. Shane Stewart, 9 wins in just 3 months in Junior Holbrook's car.
Yeah, and to not even have a ride at the beginning of the season, be out here crewing for Andy Hillenberg and stuff. I mean, this is unbelievable. The kid, I mean, there's been a lot of drivers in that 8H, and he gets in that thing and really goes fast.
It just shows me so many guys just need that one break in first-class equipment.
Absolutely.
And problems there with the Viver in entry. Is that, or no, it's that Chuck Swenson, I believe it is.
Yep, paint
yes,
job.
It is.
Paint job looks a lot like Tim Schaefer's car.
Yeah, that's Chuck Swenson.
Especially on the wing there. It looks a lot like the Vibrant car.
Sure did. He won the Wasota 360 race last month, for those of you who follow the action up at the Viking Speedway in Alexandria, Minnesota. I like that. Just X. that's a good number or letter right there.
In the 360s you were talking about, of course, the 360 cubic inch. That's a steel engine, a little heavier race car, a little less horsepower.
So the Saldana family, one's racing, one's hoping. Back in a moment. I'll tell you, it's been my first time around the country with the Pennzoil World of Outlaws this year, and you just take a look at the crowd. Every nook and cranny of this Nebraska Raceway Park jam-packed tonight. You know what? It's like 50-something degrees outside. It's spectacular.
Yeah, it's a beautiful night. This is a big old grandstand. It goes a long way up here to the booth, and it is, as you said, it's full.
It really is. And I think, as Lasoski was saying earlier, a lot of the guys have said so, the word got out about last night, too. I mean, it was just great racing. The track has been in superb condition.
It is. Again, not a ripple in it. They're able to run top and bottom, run anywhere they want to go. And
so a couple of laps now remaining to wrap up this third heat race. Saldana, Herrera, Delansky, McMahon, and Stevie Smith. Those are the top 5 who would advance in. But the 8H is going to try and grab 5th spot away from Stevie Smith if he can.
There he is coming down. Oh, down
Stevie blocked him nicely.
Yep. You know, Stevie, starting on the front row, we've talked about it so many times, this tire war on the West Coast. There was five out of 6 nights that the Goodyear won, but there's a lot of moisture on the West Coast tracks. To get back here on these big race tracks, it looks like the Hoosiers, as of last night, Mark Kinser dominated on one. Maybe that'll happen again tonight.
Well, the Beef Packers grab the win. There goes Saldana, Herrera, Delansky, McMahon, and Smith. So Shane Stewart gets held off and does not advance automatically through the O'Reilly Auto Parts heat races. But obviously, tonight there will be a C main and a B main leading to the A. So there'll be plenty of opportunity yet. But that man is comfortably in now. The Hemsaw Beef Packers entry for Joey Saldana. Talk about another team that's gone through their share of drivers over the last year and a half. There you see the top 5. Those are the fellas who are automatically in. And we'll, of course, keep tabs on who's where for you throughout the course of the evening. But that man knows where he is as the Roth Racing team finds the win. Let's go downstairs. Bobby Gerald is standing by with Joey Saldana.
Just getting his helmet off. The man who came home 3rd at the Amoco Ultimate Knoxville Nationals this year picked up $45,000 for that. But tonight it's I-80 Speedway in Nebraska. Joey, you look pretty good there. You happy with your performance in the heat race?
Yeah, I mean, starting on the pole definitely made it nicer because the bottom groove's wet down there for the starts. But actually, the longer we run, we got really loose. So we got to work on the car and get a little better. We're trying a different motor tonight, and we didn't qualify very good, so at least we made the best of it by winning the heat, so hopefully we can run good tonight.
You said you're a little loose. Now, what happens there? You meet with your crew chief, Mark Ellis, and you guys will talk about tightening up the car. How would you tighten up the car? Is that a deal where you take out a little stagger?
Definitely. I mean, yeah, you take a little stagger out, maybe change some bars. I really don't know what he's really thinking about doing. He's got some ideas how he likes to do things, so we'll just hopefully he makes the right call.
All right, we'll wait and see. And it sounds like Joey's just kind of along for the ride, huh, Brad Doty? You ever been in one of those situations where the crew chief just says, well, this is how it's going to be, you got to race it?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. You know, they'll just tell, let me fix it, you just drive it.
Make it all sound easy. I tell you, when it works, so it works. There's nothing like it. So the Beef Packers team already advancing to the A main. When we come back, we'll be seeing Danny Wood and Tim Schaefer and Jeff Shepard and a host of others. That's next. Back with you here in Greenwood, Nebraska. We're located between Omaha and Lincoln, about 30 miles from Omaha, about 20 or so from Lincoln, Nebraska. Glad you're with us here on TNN Sports. Hey, folks, be sure to visit openwheelracing.com. You want all the breaking news? You want in-depth features about open wheel racing? Why don't you go where the racers go? openwheelracing.com. Field forming up. Included in the field is that Quaker State entry for Steve Kinser. You realize it's been 16 races now since his last victory?
Well, as you can see there, it's O'Reilly out here because of they're a big dealer and distributor for Quaker State Oil.
But of course, the big Q, which, as he tells you, stands for quality, is still prominently displayed there on the wing as Steve Kinser gets set to go racing here. By the way, if you're a Craig Delansky fan from earlier in that last heat race, popped an engine. That's why he was not a major factor in the number 7. Let's check out the grid now for the 4th of the O'Reilly Auto Parts heats. Pretty good field again right there. Mike Goodman, Danny Wood, Shepard Schaefer, Ricky Logan, Brian Paulus in this one. Again, only the top 5 will advance. Steve Kinser's got to make some hay from 8th starting spot.
Yeah, it's a long way back. He's not qualifying too well. I don't know what's going on there.
You know, some of the all-time greats, though, have never been great qualifiers, whether it's in Pennzoil World of Outlaws, open wheel, other forms, NASCAR racing. Some of the all-time greats aren't necessarily the great qualifiers.
Some guys need a rabbit out there to chase.
Yeah.
You know, they need somebody in front of them to pace themselves and something to shoot for.
Green flag sets them going.
There's another guy, Jeff Shepard, having a dream season. Now, we talked about Shane Stewart earlier.
Yep.
Shepard winning his first World Outlaw win a couple weeks ago. Got 2 of them. 3 preliminaries this year. I mean, so 5 races. He's just happy on top of the world. Had a great West Coast run.
There you see Brian Paulus brushed the wall. That's why everybody was going by him. No caution, but he did rub up against the wall coming off the number 2 corner there seconds ago.
Boy, and it looked like he made contact pretty hard with the right front, probably both side tires, but
again he does it. That time it looked like a tire might have gone away on him.
Well, the right
Tough
front.
to tell.
The rim on the right front it looks like it's down now. Yep.
Yeah.
I could tell when he went by on the front straight up before, the right front rim looked really bent up.
Now he's going to try and limp it towards the entry to the pits. He's not going to get there, and caution comes out on the Speedway. So Brian Paulus, making only his 4th start since the Knoxville Nationals, brushed the wall the first time, and then second time by in virtually the same spot. Down went the Goodyear Eagle on the right front, and he kissed the wall one more time.
Well, and as a driver, you don't want to drive into the pits because they race without you. So he stops, brings out the yellow. They push it into the work area, gives his crew a chance to change it.
Take a look again at what happened. Watch him brush the wall the first time by. It really gives it a good slide job. It doesn't stop till he gets halfway to Omaha.
Yeah, the car looks really extremely loose. Boy, you can see the right front actually climb up the wall. Did a pretty nice job trying to get away from it.
And now here's the second time, and you can see the right front just fall.
Yep, the right front was down, and he couldn't control it. See him trying to look out there to see any traffic coming so he can get down across the racetrack.
And the lights go out.
So Brian Paulus heading to the pits. You see Dave Argabright pirouetting over to make sure all is okay and to add his expertise, or at least to check on stuff. You can see the damage. So as the field forms up again, you've got Mike Goodman, who has started 16 A-mains this year with the Pennzoil World of Outlaws. Look who's running in 5th now. Steve Kinser got the O'Reilly Quaker State machine up into that final transfer spot. Just like you said he would.
Well, this guy's been around, obviously, a lot of laps and pretty much rises to the top by the end of the night. Oh, as you can see, he went in behind Shepard. I don't think he thought Shepard was going to go that tight to the bottom, and Steve had to slide clear up across the racetrack. Look how far around it is up on the top of the track versus the bottom.
But you can really keep it wound up high, where you tend to bind the car up many times awfully low.
Obviously, it's a lot shorter, a lot closer around the racetrack on the bottom, but as you said, they get down there too much and they run sideways, slipping and sliding. They just keep the top, get on the top, and they can stay in the throttle longer entering the corners, get back in the throttle sooner coming off the corners when they're wheeling around the top.
5 laps complete.
Danny Wood hitting the cushion there, about hitting the wall. Boy, it's working way up against the fence. The cushion is.
And there's the 10C of Campbell. Jeremy Campbell. Saw him sneaking down low there, holding on to the 4th spot, his best finish of the season in May. The 3rd he had up at Hartford, Michigan.
Saw Steve behind him there coming off a 2. Got way up over the cushion, about got in the wall.
3rd place, too. Still that ongoing battle. Now you watch 4th place. Now we jump around to the leader, Goodman. Little look at everybody. He's got 1 6/10 seconds, Goodman does, on Danny Wood right there, the blue machine. And the checkers are out. So Goodman, Wood, Schaefer, Campbell, and Kinser. That's the running order. And Jeff Shepard does not get in. He'll settle for 6th. Jeff Shepard, who won the first World of Outlaw event of his career in the preliminary here at Greenwood a year ago. That man does not make it into the automatic transfer, and he will settle in the 6th spot. So, again, good solid runs for many, but not for that man.
I'll tell you, the surprise there
Jeremy
is Campbell, who started 9th. Good run for him.
Yep. There you see the numbers. Was indeed a super run for Jeremy Campbell here in the final of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Heats. So we've already got 20 who have advanced to the A, and that includes, of course, Mike Goodman. Dave, good solid performance for him. Never challenged.
Well, it would be a great interview, Eli, if he had come back here to his pit. We don't know where he is. He must have taken an extra lap, but he's currently 3rd in the Gum Out Series, which is a development series for the World of Outlaws. And it's tough for these young racers. Here he comes right now. I better get out of the way, or that interview would be cut short very quickly. It's tough for some of these young racers to come in here and run with the Pennzoil World of Outlaws, but when you can come in and win a heat like this, that really buoys your enthusiasm and fires you up. It's kind of like a game of golf, you know. One good shot, and boy, that'll propel you along for weeks. And we've got Mike here, and we'll let him get this helmet off. And now, see, you messed us up with that extra lap or something there, buddy. You run with the Gum Out Series a lot. Tell me what it means to come in here and win a heat race.
Well, it's definitely builds your confidence. These guys are the best of the best on dirt, and we're running that Gum Out Series to try to get organized enough to come run with these guys, and it boosts our confidence and makes us feel good when we can come out here and be competitive like we are.
It looks like tonight on this racetrack, the start is going to be very, very critical. Is that right?
The start's going to be real critical. The guy on the inside is going to get the jump for sure, but I think the track will be on the top for a while, but you may see it actually lay a little bit of rubber tonight. It looks like it wants to, and I'm starting to lock down a little bit in the middle, so it could be 2 grooves.
Well, Eli, this is dirt track racing. The guessing game begins.
It does, and I'll tell you, it's been a heartbreaker to know that the first race this year here at Nebraska Raceway Park was canceled due to rain and couldn't be rescheduled because the sanctioning body and the track just couldn't come up with a date that would work for everybody, because the way they're getting around here tonight, it would be nice if this were the 2nd visit of the season. It's been a great racetrack so far.
Well, as you said, with the World of Outlaws running 110 races a year, it's hard to find a date to plug in a rain date there.
But we are still going at it hot and heavy here in Nebraska tonight. TNN just warming up. Our coverage continues after this. We don't often get a chance to cover the C-Main for you on our TNN telecast, but tonight we do as we check out the C-Main. And remember, the top 2 finishers will be advancing to the tail end of the B-Main. Jason Sides in that 7S, Raymond Shank alongside, Justin Henderson and Rick Idias, Chuck Swenson and John Lambert, Derek Beckman, Bob Bennett, Jamie Moyle and Dan Oswalt. 8 laps, the top 2 will tag on to the tail end of the B-Main. For the others, the night's racing is done. Sides holding off the challenge of the X of Chuck Swenson. The R19, that's Justin Henderson to his inside.
Yeah, getting by Shank. Previous lap. It's also, oh!
And around he goes, and it takes others with him. Oh, and in come the others. Beckman in the 50D gets piled into, as you saw the X of Swenson going around, and clearly caution is on the Speedway as we have our break right there. The 50D of Beckman.
Yeah, Yeah, too much damage on the 50 car. You can see right there the front axle shoved back.
Bennett had nowhere to go. Watch it again here. There goes the X. Chuck Swenson, the former Wissota Sprint Car Club performer. And then you had the two pile in. Beckman, who made 4 A mains at Knoxville during his rookie season in 2001 here. And again, the 3B of Bennett. So caution on the Speedway as we bring you coverage of the C-Main from Nebraska Raceway Park. One lap complete as we get set to go back to green. The C-Main, the top 2 finishers advancing to the tail end of the B as we welcome you back to Nebraska Raceway Park. Jason Sides has the top spot. Justin Henderson right behind him. Everybody snakes by the cone, and we're underway again. Some running room. There's Jason Sides, who took 3rd last weekend in a hometown show in Memphis. Meanwhile, the X of Chuck Swenson jumping that start. He's very penalized.
So he's been X'd out of the field, I guess.
As it were.
Has to go to the tail for jumping on the restart.
There he is.
Well, he'll get scored, I guess, at the tail.
Yes, he'll be placed at the tail end, which effectively ends his evening, this being the C-Main. Don't get the top 2 spots and your night is done. Sides and Justin Henderson, who's been 2nd and 3rd this season, Henderson has, in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Others trying to pick their way through some race traffic. There's Jason Sides. We've seen him at some pretty good runs on TNN this year.
Yeah, we really have. For limited experience, not a lot of racing laps, and not a lot of, especially on a big old racetrack like this. He's doing a great job right now.
Jamie Moyle running in the 3rd spot. Rick I-80 is running in 4th. There you see 3rd and 4th spot right now being battled for.
When you can see the track, it's getting blacker, kind of slick. It's not really taking rubber net yet because you can see the cars sliding around, but you see how black it is right around the top there. If it's going to take rubber, that might be where it'll take it first.
There's Jason Sides. Checkered flag is out for him. He'll take the top spot, and Justin Henderson will finish in 2nd. Those 2 will advance to the B main. They will tack on to the tail end of the field. There's Justin and Jason Sides. So both men will advance on to the B, and the remainder of the field from the C main heading on down Interstate 80. Their nights are done. When we come back, we've got the Channellock Dash next. Sports coverage of the Pennzoil World of Outlaws Great Plains Shootout is being brought to you by Mopar. Parts for Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, and Jeep vehicles from the dealerships that sell and install them. Welcome back, folks, heading down to the souvenir rigs to get some World of Outlaws official merchandise. That rig travels to all the Pennzoil World of Outlaw races, and you see that everywhere you go, so might want to swing on by, get a little t-shirt action going right there. If you're just joining us, here are the 20 drivers who have already advanced to the A main. No huge surprises, except maybe for the guy in 19th starting spot or the guy in 10th starting spot. There are a few surprise names in there.
Yeah, Campbell, we saw the nasty crash down in Bristol.
Yep.
Had to pass Steve Kinser, and he raced to get a spot. I mean, good run for him tonight.
And of course, you've got other racing coming up for you before the A. But right now, everybody's kind of figuring out, does Mark Kinser have the field covered tonight? Let's check in with Lisa.
Thanks, Eli. In the competition for the overall points, 2-time champion Mark Kinser has the advantage of experience on his side. He and his crew are proven winners that know how to get it done. But this season's points race has been wheel to wheel, and he knows it's not over yet.
seems to be every week there's not a breakaway. There's not going to be a breakaway. Now we're at the end of the year. At first of the year, everybody was asking or saying that we don't worry about the points until August. Well, it's well past August, and here we are. We're still in a points battle.
Now it's late September, the season is winding down, and the championship is still undecided. Mark and his dad see another title as affirmation of a job well done.
It always means you're the champion. It means a lot to me, to my father, and to my team. It means accomplishment.
With a decisive victory here last night and a long history of success, Mark Kinser has established himself as a favorite, and all he has to do is win a couple of races here at Greenwood, and he could pass Danny Lasoski and the entire pack. Back to you, Eli.
There you see Mark Kinser with that 27-point lead. Of course, he's won 7 of his first 8 starts at Nebraska Raceway Park. I kind of like those odds when you show up, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we talked about it earlier tonight that a guy just shows up somewhere, he just likes a place, and that gives you a confidence level that's just hard to beat.
Really is. So as we get set now to go to work in the Channellock Dash, let's take a look at the starting grid and see how your favorites are lining up. Best seat in the house for Mike Goodman.
Little surprise there for a lot of people. Ricky Warner, crew chief on that, started a few weeks ago and really picked that team up. They got to be real happy with being on the pole of this dash.
And if you're just new to the Pennzoil world of Outlaws, the finishing order among these 10 drivers establishes the top 10 starting spots for the A-Main. All of these drivers already in the A-Main, and there's the man who turns the wrenches on that Mopar machine.
Carl Kinser. Again, he's one of those guys, he watches every move that race car makes at every corner.
To set the starting positions 1 through 10, Goodman on the start, so very pivotal, holds off the challenge. The Luxair entry of Hillenberg coming in 2nd spot. Kinser moving up to 3rd, now grabs 2nd on the inside.
Yeah, look at that. Mark right around the very bottom.
Goodness, like he's on a rail.
Yeah, started 5th. And we talked about it again in the opener show. He dominated so bad. He won by half a lap last night.
The 20 of Myers. Lasoski in that white number 20 as Kinser grabs the top spot from Mike Goodman, who scored a win of his own at Superior and a 2nd place at Port Royal during the Gumout Series action there this year.
You know, everybody talks about Carl Kinser's race cars being so fast, and they are. Yeah. And that gives the driver, you know, that confidence we talked about. But I sat down in turn 1 last night, listened to these guys, and Mark Kinser had throttle control. Last night, he was the only one backing off the throttle. You could hear him working the throttle through the slick part of the racetrack. Everybody else was bonsaiing it into the corners, running almost wide open, shaking the car loose. I mean, the guy's driving the race car, too. Yes, he's got a fast race car, but he's also good throttle control and keeping that car very straight.
Kinser and Lasoski running 1st and 2nd on the track as they are in the point standings for the 2001 season. Again, this is to set the starting lineup for the top 10 spots for the A-Main coming up later on. There's 5th and 6th right now. And a bonsai move. McMahon takes the inside, and he'll run right up. The Beef Packers 83 of Saldana comes charging right back. And now to the inside, you've got Schaefer in the 11H.
Boy, that was taking a chance. Paul McMahon, there's no way that Saldana knew he was coming that fast. If Joey to move down just a little bit. Oh, McMahon just about tagging the wall.
The track's holding so well, though. You almost get that extra confidence.
Yeah, especially for that guy right there. The track's really holding well. His car's gripping the racetrack.
Another race, another win.
Speaking of throttle control, that guy behind him there, Lasoski, another one that running the bottom like that takes a lot of throttle control.
Goodman will come home 3rd, Hillenberg 4th, Myers 5th, then Schaefer, Saldana, McMahon. Here come Herrera and Chesson. So that's how they finish as Mark Kinser continues to dominate as he did here last night, folks. And obviously many of you were not here in person and there was no TV coverage. When that car crossed the finish line, 2nd place was in the middle of the back straightaway. I mean, we're talking domination. We're talking half a lap.
In a 25-lap race.
Yeah.
With restarts and cautions and things, he still was able to blister him that bad.
So there you see the top 5. That is how they will start 1 through 5 for the A main coming up a bit later on. Finishing 6 through 10 will be Schaefer, Saldana, McMahon, Herrera, and Chesson. So the Channellock Dash winner for the Pennzoil World of Outlaws is Mark Kinser, who continues to dominate here at Nebraska Raceway Park. We have got the B main coming up. We've got the A main yet to come your way. And you gotta love it. Chevrolet sponsoring the Moon here in Nebraska. Earlier this evening here at the Nebraska Raceway Park, all the fans were given cards, a card section showing the patriotism that has really rushed to the forefront in light of the terrorist acts of last week. That was just prior to racing tonight. All the fans getting involved with a very innovative card section here at Raceway Park.
Isn't that neat? I mean, it really turned out well, and that's just pretty awesome to see that.
And of course, as part of the patriotic theme of this last week or so, we have been joined along with this crowd of thousands by many an American flag, and of course the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Nebraska also here. He's a racing fan, came by to visit before, and Lisa, he was here as much to visit with the fans as he is to enjoy the races.
And I'm sure he's having a great time. And this is Lieutenant Governor Dave Marstad. Now, we have seen tonight such an amazing display of patriotism. How does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel proud to be a Nebraskan and an American, but it doesn't really surprise me because here in the heart of America, we take our duty and our pride in our country seriously.
What are, you know, with all this patriotism, and we're all very, you know, proud Americans, like you said, what's the most important thing that we can do now?
I think it's important that we pull together as a country, we respect each other. I think we need to support our military now. It's very important. And also the public servants just at the local level. I have told people, you know, you need to go up to the local police officer, firefighter, emergency service personnel and say thank you for what you do for us every day.
Thank you so much. Thanks for spending time with us.
Glad TNN's here.
Back to you, Eli.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you very much. And every car in the field here this weekend has an American flag decal emblazoned somewhere on it. So Dave Argabright, whether it's here in the booth or in the grandstands or in the pits, that United We Stand decal is something we're all taking to heart.
Well, he's proud to be an American, proud to be from Oolitic, great little town in Indiana. Mark Kinser, impressive performance in that dash. Does this set you up to check out again like last night?
Well, I don't know. The track's real wide. Getting a little rubber laid down on tube. Took insurgents with tire wear. Crews right now, they're mounting some tires. We'll see what happens.
Is it a guessing game at this point, or does your experience tell you where you need to go with it?
It's very much a guessing game at this point. We don't know what the track's going to do.
Well, he's got a good history here, Eli. He's guessed right a lot in the past.
You know, I don't doubt what he says, but there's more to that team than just guessing right all the time. I mean, that's wonderful. Let him say what he'd like. They know what they're doing. Let's check out the grid for the B main here at the Nebraska Raceway Park. Some big names. Remember, Darren Pittman had that rear end problem earlier in the evening. Didn't see him run as well as he would have liked.
Yeah, that's what puts him in the B main.
Yep. Ryan Paulus at the wall a couple of times. You remember Shane Stewart just missing the automatic transfer spot earlier. So we'll see who will advance to the feature, the A main, coming up here at the Great Plains Shootout.
Jeff Shepard on the outside front row. We talked about earlier, winning his first main, having a great West Coast swing.
And Shepard has won 4 of his last 11 starts this season, coming off that California tour.
Guy Forbrook and Chris Paulson of CNR Racing Radiators developed a new radiator that saves them 8 to 10 pounds with the bracketry and the water that they saved. They worked on it in Knoxville and have it in this weekend.
Look at Sammy Swindell. Yep, that's him. He's going out and take a closer look and see what the track is doing.
Yep, he's going to watch these race cars as they blast through the corners to see who's slipping and sliding and who's stuck.
Sammy's already in the A. That'll be coming up next here on TNN Sports. Look at Darren Pittman in that blue number 3, flexing the muscle that he couldn't show earlier in the evening.
Right now, this first lap, everybody kind of just moving around, searching and trying to find a place that their race car likes. Jeff Shepard there looking a little bit loose in that race car. Started on the front row, he's back to third.
Saw the the 66 of Wayne Johnson there, looking for some running room on the outside. Didn't find as much as he would have liked.
That's the car normally driven by Brooke Tatnall. He's had a horrible season. We saw him in the crash. Broke his leg. He broke his hand working on his motorhome. So Wayne Johnson's filling the seat for him.
Making only his second start.
He's a 360 national ASCS champion last year. Not a lot of 410 starts.
Doing a solid run right now. There's Brad Furr, 7th at Watsonville. Best finish for him in the last couple of months. You see the transfer spots right there. Trout.
Racing's a funny thing, you know. Brad Furr started out so fast in that team, you know, really, you know, top 5 almost every night, and they have been struggling for the last half of this year.
Saw the 3S of Ricky Logan going by. 8 laps to go. Now 7. The 8H. Middle of your screen, Stewart from 10th up to 7th right now.
Yeah, he actually looks a little faster than Johnson, but he just can't find a way around, and messing around there, he's going to get passed by the 3 car. But well, there he's going to lose some ground. It's hard. I mean, if your car's not working right, there's not a lot the driver can do. If you're spinning the tires, no matter how good a driver you are, you're not getting that horsepower to the racetrack. That's what I love about dirt racing. You know, the track changes every lap. You got to adapt your race car and your driving style.
There's Brad Furr working some lap traffic. The race leader has 9/10 of a second on Darren Pittman, who is closing in a hurry. That blue number 3.
But you can see Darren had to slide up across the racetrack there, and you can see how much speed it scrubbed off. Let Brad Furr pull away a little bit.
The cars are seeming to be bogging down a little bit here in the B main.
Well, the track is slick. Yeah. They're spinning their tires, as you can see right there. Pittman's got a run on him.
Here's a battle for the lead. Pittman in the blue 3, Furr in that 2F, the red machine.
Yeah, they're actually spinning the wheels coming off the corners, and the driver has to control that with the brake and the throttle. A lot of times they'll power brake it. They'll ride their foot on the brake and to help keep the control of that wheel spin.
Shepard is broken, by the way. There's Shepard. The working entry is just broken. He is already off the racetrack. 10 laps are complete, just a couple to go as the field works some race traffic.
Oh, this could be Pittman's chance right here.
Trying to keep it wound up. Darren Pittman makes the move and grabs the top spot from Brad Furr. White flag is out. 1 lap to go in the B main.
I mean, it's bad anytime you lose a race, but again, the top 4 get their time back, transfer to the A, so it's not a great loss from Brad Furr, but he tried something there, and it didn't work. He got in the middle of the racetrack and lost a lot of ground.
Checkered flag, Pittman, Furr. Here comes Trout after problems early in the O'Reilly heat, and Johnson comes home in 4th spot in the 66. Stewart does not make it in the 8H. So Darren Pittman waits for that opportunity, saw the opening, and made the pass pay off. Brad Furr having to settle for the 2nd spot. Though they see it, the top 4 will advance. There will be an opportunity for some provisional starting spots. We'll see exactly how the field shapes up here in just a moment or so. Hey, quick reminder for those of you who are web savvy, I'm sure Sammy Swindell is, be sure to check out sprintcarnet.com. Live audio webcasts of the world of outlaw races. Those folks will be on board with you at sprintcarnet.com.
Joe and Sammy there, he and I've got an appearance at a Penske Auto Stores here with the proceeds of my shirts going to the American Red Cross this weekend while we're here in Nebraska.
Super.
So that's planned for this weekend, and it'd be nice to hang out with Sammy for a little bit there.
Talk about a competitor. Who's going to, do you talk to yourself when you sit with Sammy or what?
You know, Sammy, away from the racetrack, he's a lot more relaxed, a lot more open, and he's just, as you can see, he's walking the racetrack there. He is so focused at the races.
Now, obviously he's a veteran of many, many years. What can you tell by walking with your 100-and-some-odd-pound body that'll make any sense into your race car?
Well, especially tonight when we're talking about maybe getting rubber down, he's actually feeling on his shoes. How sticky is that racetrack getting? Look at him, he's reaching down there, he's feeling to see if it's getting any rubber. And he's literally walking around. Now, is my shoe sticking here and there? And that's right through the blackest part of the racetrack right there. And that's what he's checking for.
He is all alone out there between turns 3 and 4. As the patriotism of America takes center stage. The Great Plains Shootout at Nebraska Raceway Park continues on TNN Sports. Eli Gold, Brad Doty, Dave Argabright, Bobby Gerald, and thousands of our closest friends here in Greenwood, Nebraska. Hey, folks, be sure to visit openwheelracing.com for all of the breaking news and in-depth features of all sorts of open wheel racing. We invite you to go where the racers, and I'm sure many of those fans go, openwheelracing.com for all the latest news. And that news also includes the fact that Jeff Shepard, although he's eligible to run, Dave Argabright, I understand, is not going to run the A-Main.
That's right, Eli. Jeff tells us that after we saw him pulling in that previous race there, that his night is over. Jeff, what happened?
Well, I guess there in the B-Main, we had a little bit of engine trouble. We haven't had that all year, but, you know, it kind of took us out of the A-Main.
Now, you're able to use a provisional, but you're unable to start?
Yeah, I don't think we have enough time to change the motor to get out there to run the A-Main. So because we have 3 provisionals left on the season, we're going to take one and just try to gain 6 or 8 points as though we were out there. We just don't have time to change it.
Well, he'll be scored last in this race, Eli. It's a tough break for the team that they had such a good experience on their West Coast swing.
Yeah, so they'll get some 16 points tonight, Brad, and still get last place money, which is certainly better than nothing.
Yeah, and that was Guy Forbrook, their car owner and crew chief of this car, in the wheelchair there. As you can see the look of disappointment in his face.
You know, tonight is part of the Rat Bag point competition. The Pennzoil World of Outlaws have all sorts of special awards. Here's one of them. Great Plains Shootout here in Greenwood, Nebraska is part of the Rat Bag Cup point competition. Rat Bag will be awarding the participating Pennzoil World of Outlaw competitors with $120,000 at season's end. The top 10 finishers in last year's points are eligible for the Rat Bag Cup competition, and the driver accumulating the most points in the 18 Rat Bag Cup events, those are the races televised by TNN, will earn a $25,000 bonus. So why don't we take a look at how the points look going into this evening's race here in Greenwood, Nebraska. Interestingly, Mark Kinser, though he's leading the season points, Brad, on the year, only 4th in the Rat Bag points.
Yeah, again, these are just the TV races, and Danny Lasoski's got a good run at that $25,000.
So that's how it stacks up as we wind our way towards the end of this 2001 racing season. Work underway as again the American flag front and center here in Nebraska. Welcome back, everybody. TNN Sports with you at the Nebraska Raceway Park. The Great Plains Shootout as the field forms up for what is normally the traditional 4 abreast salute to the fans. But this evening, as you see, I guess we'll call it the missing man formation, if you will, motorsport style, in honor of all of those who have suffered and whose lives have been lost in the terrorist attacks and all that has gone on over the last week and a half here in our country. And a nice honor here from the Pennzoil World of Outlaws stars.
Well, it really is. You know, we opened the show. It's on everybody's mind, and you know, it's just a terrible tragedy that we all, you know, have to. Hopefully, everything's going to be the government and everything will take care of this in the right way, and things get back to somewhat normal.
They do have some fireworks going off overhead that you see here in Greenwood, Nebraska. Again, we have all had a hole ripped in our hearts by what transpired in New York, Washington, and Pennsylvania last week, but the fabric of our country was not ripped apart, and that's something that everybody here at this racetrack and at tracks across the country are trying to show. There's an interesting firework pyro display, a little parachute with the fireworks flying beneath. Let's take a look at the starting grid for the A-Main, the feature of the evening in the Great Plains Shootout. Will it be another Mark Kinser benefit, as was the case a night ago? Or will one of these names come up to play a major role? The question again, rubber on the racetrack.
Yep. If and when it takes rubber, and we've talked about it on our broadcast before, when it starts taking rubber, it makes the track real sticky, and you try to stick those rear tires in it to get better traction.
There's another element to the tire story that we'll explore here if time permits. Green flag is in the air, and very quickly the field shuffles off into the corner. Good, clean start that time, say the officials, and already Mark Kinser is up by a half second. He's up by 3/4 of a second and begins to pull away from the rest of the field. And look at the difference already as you see others using the middle and the high grooves. Kinser going high. Lasoski stays low as you see the battle here for 3rd and 4th spots. Hillenberg in the black number 2. Goodman in the red 3. The 83 is Saldana. Brad, such a wide variety of grooves.
All over the racetrack. Yep, through the middle, around the bottom, trying to find, as you see Saldana there in the 83.
Trouble off turn number 2. The caution lights are on as we've got caution, and 2 cars you see stopped right there. Sammy Swindell and the U2 of McMahon. So Paul McMahon and Sammy Swindell, who were running 11th and 12th respectively, bring out the first caution of our A main. What we were going to talk about as far as the tire story here tonight, in addition to the Pennzoil World of Outlaw cars that you have been seeing here on TNN, throughout the evening there have been the local divisions that have been racing here without television coverage, and that includes the local stock cars that run here on a weekly basis. Their tires are very different from what we've seen, and you and I were talking before, and certainly I defer to your expertise, Brad, but the fact that they are much thinner than the tires that these cars are using, these wide tractor type tires, that could account to some degree, I guess, when the guys went out and were looking to check the track and didn't find as much rubber as they had figured. Maybe the tires of those local division stock cars are the reason why.
Well, when we started this race, it wasn't as black as it looked in the B main, and that's right. The stock cars have a skinnier, thinner tire, and what that does, it rolls up the racetrack. It rolls some moisture back up, kind of brings the clay back up, as you will, and then turns the racetrack back brown again. Now these guys go to harder tires for this long race, and it really makes it slippery and a little slick the first couple laps because the hard tire has to get some heat in it.
Looks like the surface of the moon, actually, when you take a look at it from this angle. But it's no different. I mean, you talk about it from an experienced veteran on dirt tracks. As the folks know, my background has been asphalt racing until this year. But even on the asphalt tracks, where you might be used to running a Goodyear or a Hoosier, then all of a sudden, along comes the American Racer type of tire, the former McCreary's, and they will put down a different tire compound on asphalt, and I don't want to say mess things up, but brings handling to the forefront. It's very much, as I'm learning, the same here on dirt.
Yep, it does change the track conditions, and again, when these guys go to harder tires, you know, it takes a few laps to get heat in them, and so they were really slipping and sliding these first few laps. But Sammy Swindell said was running 10th or 11th. He started like 20th or something in this race, so he was really moving forward.
Bobby Gerald, how about the tires themselves, the compounds that these teams have gone to? Different than last night, the same as last night? What's your read up and down pit road?
Harder tires, Eli, all the way around for just about all these guys down here in the pits. If you look at the top 3 cars out there on the track right now, Kinser, Lasoski, Saldana, they are all Hoosier guys, and Lasoski and Kinser have on the exact same combination, a 15 right rear, a 12 on the left rear. Joey Saldana went a little bit harder, so we'll see if that comes into play. The theory would be that Saldana would get better as the race wears on. Now, also something real interesting here, and we're going to steer clear here on pit road because we believe Sammy Swindell just been given a black flag we saw on the front straightaway, and so Sammy could be coming hot down through the pits here very shortly.
Right, word is that he was guilty of bumping McMahon's car to bring out that caution of moments ago as Sammy had moved from 20th to 11th before the spin.
Actually, what I'm hearing is that he's got in trouble for after the crash. When they restarted, he rammed the U2 car, and a little heated temper there, so that is why the black flag came out.
Making only his 8th appearance since the Knoxville Nationals. See Sammy gesturing what did it do.
Caution lights getting set to be turned off.
Again, the U2 spun.
We got racing.
The 1 is what Sammy is saying under green. And then Sammy came back and hit McMahon under the caution. And how many times, if indeed that's how it played out, if indeed it is, and quite honestly, folks, I didn't see it all, how many times do you see the retaliatory move get caught by the officials as opposed to the initial move?
Exactly. But I tell you, he was moving forward to start 20th, be up to 11 in what, just a lap or two?
Yeah, 2 laps down. Getting set for the restart here outside of Omaha in Greenwood, Nebraska. And again, very quickly up front, you'll see everybody look for their particular groove. Some run low, some run high. The battle for the lead, a great one. Lasoski down low. There's Kinser running up high.
Again, look how much shorter the racetrack is. And look how brown it is down there as opposed to where Mark Kinser's running up in the black. As long as that can stay brown down there for Danny Lasoski, that's sticky. But the black up on top will get stickier if that rubber starts sticking.
Kinser seeking his 20th victory of the year. Lasoski second, Hillenberg third, Saldana fourth. Here comes Lasoski. He's finished among the top 10 in 11 of the last 14 races this season.
Well, what's going to happen here if Lasoski doesn't get the pass done? And, well, Mark Kinser picked it up and got away. But running the bottom, if Danny Lasoski shows Mark Kinser that maybe the bottom's faster and doesn't get the pass made, Mark Kinser will move down there and probably take the line away.
Kinser's got 0.7 of a second on Lasoski. Meanwhile, middle of the field. There you see them battling.
But I don't think Mark Kinser's going to move down now because he stepped it up and started driving away from Lasoski right at the top.
Myers, Goodwin, Schatz, all looking for their little piece of real estate. There's Donnie Schatz, been quiet tonight, running in 7th. And you see he's already better than 8 seconds behind the race leader, Kinser. Myers had a good run earlier, scored a 7th at Calistoga. Best run since the 8th that he had at the Knoxville Nationals. Meanwhile, the leader in traffic, Kinser, is picking his way through. Still got just 0.9 of a second on Lasoski. Now it's stretching to better than a second.
Boy, and he got a lucky break there. The 2 lap cars, one went right to the top, one to the bottom, and he was able to split them right down the middle.
Hillenberg running in 3rd still. But Hillenberg is 1 full second behind Lasoski, which makes him 2 seconds behind that man, Mark Kinser.
Again, only 27 points separate these guys going into tonight. You know, neither one can afford to do anything too foolish. I mean, Danny Lasoski running second. He wants to win this race. And he can say what he wants. He said, to open the show, that he doesn't think about points. He better be. I mean, at this point, he better be a little conservative and not take a chance just trying to win the race.
But, Brad, as you said just 2 hours ago, just a couple of bad races for either of these gentlemen. And the points get thrown into a total topsy-turvy situation.
That's what I mean. If Danny Lasoski would go in there and do something foolish and run into a lap car or hit the wall or something, take himself out. And the same with Mark Kinser. You know, as close as they are in points, they would lose that point deal. Mark Kinser would if he did something crazy. He's got to be a little conservative at this point.
Picking his way around some of the slower machines. One around Feast seconds ago.
Looks like right there, Andy Hillenberg pushing really bad. It might be starting to take rubber off of turn 4 there. When you see the cars starting to push the front end like that, maybe it's starting to get pretty sticky.
Lasoski tried to force the issue there around Whitney's number 9.
Hillenberg definitely getting tight.
Well, yeah, but he's also beginning to close just a bit on Lasoski, who's not running, you see, the same groove as earlier.
Yep, it's starting to take some rubber down. They got to hit it. They got to hit it just right. Keep the rear tires in it.
Meanwhile, 1 7/10 seconds now is the lead that Kinser has. That's why we're showing you all this other racing, because Mark's gotten gone, kind of like he did here last night.
Well, we and I know all the other competitors were hoping that it'd be a better race than that for them, but man, again, when it gets slicked off like this on a big momentum racetrack, Mark Kinser and his dad Carl, they just have it down to where
I thought we'd see more from Hillenberg going into these circumstances.
He's another one, that really likes the momentum, the high-speed places.
And he's won 3 of his last 10 starts, so he's been on a bit of a roll himself. There's Wood, Danny, running in 7th spot right now, trying to challenge the U2 of McMahon, who is already a couple of laps down.
Yeah, from that spin with Sammy at the beginning of the 2nd lap.
McMahon running in 21st spot.
Since he spun, he had to go to the tail, and that's why he's being lapped at this point. Not a lot you can do from back there when you have to go to the tail early in the race.
Up front, though, still Kinser. The last lap was not a real good one for Mark. He lost about a half second. Carl Kinser says it's all right.
Heavy lap traffic, though. He lies in heavy lap traffic, and he's got to play it cool. He's got to watch what he's doing, and he's got to be lucky.
Yeah. And he's had to pick his way. He's not going to force the issue.
You can be good. You can do everything you need to do, but you're running at these speeds. If a lap car loses it in front of you, there's not much you can do.
He's already lapped up to 18th spot. Stevie Smith would be the next man to try and chase. While there's going to be a good battle for second, Hillenberg has all but caught Lasoski now. There you see Lasoski in that white 20. Hillenberg in the black 2.
Yeah, in our last shot there, you could see Lasoski closed in on Mark Kinser. Mark was tied up in all that lap traffic, but now that he's cleared it right, well, he's still in heavy traffic right in front of him again. But Danny hasn't picked up a lot of spaces on him.
Good battle for 4th. The 83 of Saldana in that mix. The 3G of Goodman. The 20 is Jason Myers. They're all making their way with just 8 laps to go. Kinser back up to 1 2/10 seconds of an advantage on Lasoski. Oh, we watch the middle of the field. There again, interesting. Kinser has not tried to force the issue on Stevie Smith there ahead of him at 19. The Ingersoll Rand car.
Well, when it gets rubber down again, you got to keep the tires in that rubber. When you come up on lap cars, if they're running in that groove, you don't dare really try to get out of that, especially entering the corners, or you slide up across the racetrack, take a chance of spinning out. So it looks like Mark's just content to ride there.
Well, it's not going to be a half lap of a win as it was a night ago, but time just down to a precious moment for Lasoski with one chance left maybe to try and close it on Kinser, and I don't believe he's going to have nearly enough time to get there.
Yeah, and you see a little blue smoke starting to roll off the right rear tires too, Eli. That's the right rear. They're on the throttle. They're spinning that tire, and there's a lot of heat in it. It's just basically boiling the rubber off, and you see the smoke.
Basically, the track starts taking rubber with about 16 laps to go significantly, and that pretty much spelled the end for most everyone.
Boy, but it's a wide groove of rubber. Generally, it's 5 or 6 foot wide, but this racetrack's been wide all night from bottom to top, and cars running all over the place, and that's why the rubber is basically down all over the place. But you see, Mark's still having trouble with Stevie Smith.
83 Saldana, 20 is Myers. They're running 4th and 5th. They are 3 and 4/10 seconds behind our leader Kinser. Saw the smoke coming off Stevie Smith's machine, and Kinser still hasn't cleared. The man who's running in 18th spot.
There he goes.
Couple of laps, now 1 to go. White flag is out for the race leader Kinser. He closes in on Steve Kinser, puts him a lap down. Checkered flag in the air, and the Mopar colors are again going to victory lane here at Nebraska Raceway Park. Whether you call it I-80, whether you call it by its new name, you got to call it that man's racetrack, because Kinser is won now 9 out of 10 here, counting prelims and features. The final number will show the 20, the J.D. Byrider car for Lasoski, 1 and 7/10 seconds behind. But some good racing for the Pennzoil World of Outlaws, but this is tough to handle that man here in Nebraska.
Oh, absolutely. And that was Dennis Kohler up on the trailer with Carl. Been a loyal crew member of this team for many years.
Mark Kinser has won 9 of 23 races here. That's just remarkable.
And you can see how excited they still get.
Yep.
You never get tired of winning.
No, you never do. Never do. There you see the top 10 as we take a look at how your favorites did here in the A main at the Pennzoil World of Outlaws Great Plains Shootout. We are going to break away and take care of a little business. When we come back, we'll head down to victory lane. We'll talk to the winner and other top finishers here in Greenwood, Nebraska. TNN CNN Sports coverage of the Pennzoil World of Outlaws Great Plains Shootout is being brought to you by Mopar. Parts for Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, and Jeep vehicles from the dealerships that sell and install them. Welcome back, everybody. Time now to recognize tonight's hot move of the race, presented by Luxair, the official heating and air conditioning supplier to the World of Outlaws. Recognizing the hottest driving performance while keeping cool under pressure, Luxair setting the performance standard, as you'd expect. Mark Kinser and Danny Lasoski.
Well, again, Mark just, he did what he had to do. Danny got up there, started racing with him a little bit, and Mark just put the pedal down and drove away.
So that's the Luxair hot move of the night. Now we go downstairs to our Pennzoil victory lane and down to Bobby Gerald.
All right, and here we are with Mark Kinser. And Mark, as we start this interview, your dad's out walking the track. He's getting ready for the next race somewhere down the line. Not satisfied that you won this one, huh?
Yeah, he's ready for tomorrow night. You know, he's always thinking. We run a little bit softer tire than maybe the rest of the field tonight, and the wear, you know, it was quite significant, but it held on.
Yeah, and we're looking at that tire right now, and that's called using one up.
That's using one up. You know, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Brett Fisher, Lou Patain, everybody from Mopar. You know, and I think I speak for myself and all of Mopar. Our thoughts and prayers goes out to everybody in New York that was hit by such a tragic terrorist.
Mark Kinser taking another step toward that World of Outlaws championship. Dave Argabright.
You know, Bobby, this is an extraordinary points race, and now the leader and the guy second finishes 1 and 2 again. Danny Lasoski, is this thing going to go all the way down to Las Vegas?
Well, I tell you what, I think this J.D. Byrider Ham America team has done a great job all year, and to answer your question, I think it will be, and that'd be fitting for this year. I think it needs to go down to the last race. Both of us start in the front row of the feature A main, tied in points, and let's let the best team win.
Now, it looked like tonight that you reeled him in a couple of times, and then that traffic, he got away. Is that right?
Well, I passed him a couple times, and just a driver error. I should have moved up on one corner and blocked his route, but I didn't do it, so I should have had Tony down here telling me what to do.
He would have told you, no doubt about it. Great second-place run for Danny Lasoski.
So the guys we talked about 2 hours ago are the ones we're now talking about as we say goodnight from the Nebraska Raceway Park. The Great Plains Shootout going to that team, headed by Carl Kinser with Mark Kinser behind the wheel. Brad, we will see you in a couple of weeks at the dirt track at the Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Can't wait. Always good racing there. We'll see you there.
Hope you've enjoyed it, folks. Our congratulations to the Mopar team, winners of the Great Plains Shootout. For Brad Doty, for Dave Argabright, and Bobby Gerald, and Lisa Chilenza. I'm Eli Gold. Thanks for joining us for TNN's coverage of the Pennzoil World of Outlaws. We bid you good night from Greenwood, Nebraska.